Daniel's kept canary started making a fuss, demanding a proper status. He was still in the honeymoon phase with her, so he brought up divorce with me again. The new girl is young. She can't handle being wronged. Be good, Emma. When I get tired of her, we'll remarry. His expression was completely calm. Daniel, do you really want to divorce me? I asked carefully. He glanced at me. When have I ever lied? But, don't worry. I know you can't bear to leave me. At most, half a year. Other than you, what woman can stay by my side for more than half a year? Be good. Sign it. He coaxed me. I carefully read through the divorce agreement, and my gaze landed on the long string of zeros at the end. My heart settled. This was the 100th time he had divorced me. The previous 99 times, for the little birds he spoiled, he had put on a very convincing act. Every time the divorce process was completed, the compensation money would be transferred into my account. He did not know that what I truly feared was him not losing his head over them. Chapter 1. Daniel had just come out of the bathroom, wiping his damp hair. Emma, go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to apply for divorce. Don't forget. I stood by the bathroom door, holding the divorce agreement I had just signed. He seemed about to say something, but his phone rang. Don't worry, I won't touch her. Be good. I love you the most. You little temptress. I'll deal with you later. I thoughtfully closed the door for him, then went to the balcony. The night was dark and heavy. This mountain villa was so quiet this time that it made one feel melancholy. After Daniel finished the call, he held his car keys in his hand. Seeing me standing there gloomily, his figure paused. He actually took the time to comfort me. You're that reluctant to leave me? But this one really isn't easy to deal with. Be good. This is the last time. The last time. My eyes widened, and I grew so nervous I started sweating. What was the last time? The last time keeping little birds? Please don't. Please keep going. I put on the appearance of someone who could not live without him. Daniel, you treat me so well. I don't want you to be unhappy. For you, I'm willing to do anything. He bent down and looked at me. Emma, I love you. We agreed to be together for life. They're all just for fun. The real Mrs. Daniel has always been you. He stood up and looked around the villa. Same old rule. This villa is yours too. My hands were trembling. He stopped buttoning his shirt and patted my face. Do whatever you want with it. Don't be sad. Be at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time tomorrow. The door closed. He left. I collapsed weakly onto the sofa and looked at the villa with satisfaction. The houses he had given me during the previous 99 divorces had all been sold by me. The first time Daniel found out I had sold the marital home he gave me, he questioned me about why. My lips trembled, and my eyes were filled with sorrow. Daniel, you don't know. When I see that house, I think of the scene where you asked me for a divorce. I could not continue. He held me, and the heartache in his eyes was not fake. I understand. Don't say anymore. Emma, you're afraid the place will bring back painful memories. From then on, every time he remarried me and we lived together again, he would let me choose a new residence, registered under my name. Once we divorced, I could do whatever I wanted with it. The previous 98 times, I had been very cautious and did not dare choose anything too expensive, afraid he would see through my true nature and stop remarrying me. This villa, however, was chosen by him. It was worth several $100 million. That very night, I called the real estate agents over. The moment they saw me, they smiled. We were familiar, very familiar. Not only were they familiar with me, they were also familiar with Daniel. After all, when I sold, I looked for them. When Daniel bought, he also looked for them for convenience. They expertly took photos and videos, registered the property, and counted the furniture. I sat on the sofa, holding my phone, my eyes red. Daniel called to ask the agent, "How is she? Did she cry?" Every time he brought up divorce, he would keep asking other people how I was, whether I was okay, as if he loved me very much. Madam, I did not know what the person on the other end said, but the agent changed her wording. Yes, Miss Emma looks very sad. Her eyes are red. I was immersed in a novel. The female lead in that tragic romance was truly pitiful. After hanging up, the agent looked at me sympathetically. Daniel is such a scumbag. I sniffed. No, you don't understand. He's a good person. They looked at me with exasperation, as if I were hopeless, while taking photos and registering things. They also tried to secure more business. When you buy a house next time, come to me again. For an old customer, I'll give another 20% off the agency fee. I said nothing. They did not know. There would be no next time. Chapter 2. Daniel and I had just walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau when I received a call. His adopted younger sister, who had liked him since childhood, questioned me coldly the moment the call connected. Emma, did you really get divorced? Is it real this time? She had been eyeing the opening and waiting to swoop in 99 times, with Daniel's habit of kissing even a female mosquito that flew past him. He still somehow did not like her, making her so anxious she ran in circles. I held the phone a little farther away. We just filled out the application. We'll get the certificate in a month. Angelica, I've never lied to you. Angelica, to be honest, could be considered one of my patrons. She was just a little behind Daniel, ranking third. Every time I reconciled with him, she would come find me and coldly throw a sum of money at me, telling me to leave Daniel. Every time, I would nod and agree. Whose call is that? Daniel stared at me. In the past, after registration, Daniel would have disappeared without a trace long ago. This time, for some reason, Daniel did not seem so eager. We had agreed to come to the Civil Affairs Bureau the next day, but he dragged it out for 3 days. I had to urge him before he came to submit the application. It's Angelica. He looked relieved. Angelica is just a little girl who hasn't grown up. Don't be angry with her. Be good. Every time Angelica caused trouble with me, Daniel would tell me to give way. I nodded and smiled gently. I understand, Daniel. Angelica is just throwing a tantrum. After hearing my words, he became unhappy again. Do you know she likes me? Aren't you jealous? Tears welled in my eyes, almost falling but not quite. My lips trembled. Daniel, how can you say that about me? It's not that I'm not jealous. I just have no choice. I looked heartbroken. Daniel showed a pained expression and comforted me. Be good. It's my fault. This is the last time. After this last time, I'll come back to you and stop messing around. All right? There was no way I would not nod. He still wanted to say something, but his phone rang. After answering, he walked over. The little sparrows are throwing a tantrum. I'll leave first. Take a taxi yourself. That's right. This time, he was keeping 2 of them, a pair of sisters. After saying that, he left without waiting for me to speak. I let out a breath of relief. Chapter 3. Actually, the first time I found out Daniel had cheated, when he wanted to divorce me and marry the little lover outside. I had made a scene too. Daniel was the one who pursued me. He did not care that I was an orphan, nor did he care about my background. He chased me for 4 whole years in university. After graduation, in order to marry me, he knelt outside his mother's study for 3 full days. His mother came to find me. She went straight to the point. The men of this family have never been faithful. He has the same temperament as his father. I don't oppose your marriage for his sake. I'm doing it for yours. Her gaze landed on the carved screen in the old mansion, which had clearly been there for many years, and her tone was earnest. Girl, I don't want to see another flower wither day after day inside this old mansion. She spoke sincerely, but I was stupid. I thought Daniel was different. How could he be the same? He would wake up early to bring me warm breakfast. He would throw aside contracts that needed signing to stay with me, just because I had caught a minor cold. Young girls are always moved by this kind of special treatment and small details, then fall into the net, sinking so deep they cannot escape. I was not lying. After the first divorce, I stood in the marital home that had once been so sweet, and my heart was torn into pieces. I knew clearly that even if he was only playing around, even if we could reconcile in the future, a wounded heart would leave a scar that could never heal. Touch it slightly, and the pain would be unbearable, bloody and raw, and a thread once broken was difficult to tie back together. But even though I understood everything, I still could not bear to leave him. On the night he proposed to his little lover, I cut my wrist, watching the blood flow little by little. I made a phone call. How pathetic. I was begging for even a little concern from a man whose heart had changed. The phone rang for a long time before it was answered. Emma, didn't I tell you not to contact me during the divorce period? He was impatient. Stop making trouble. Be sensible. After it's fresh for a while, I'll come find you. Don't make me angry, or I won't want you anymore. Daniel, my voice came out broken and intermittent. I wanted to say, don't abandon me. Come back. He heard how weak I sounded. After a pause, he said coldly, what's wrong? Pretending to be sick so I'll come back? Don't be pathetic. Emma, the call was hung up. My whole body was cold. At that moment, I no longer wanted to die. The person who had done wrong was not me. The person whose heart had changed was not me. Why should I be the one to die? I called emergency services. When I woke up in the hospital, the bedside was cold as frost. I made up my mind. I would leave Daniel and absolutely never reconcile with him. However, at that moment, I awakened a system. Just as I hovered on the edge of death, the divorce 100 times system found me. If I did not divorce enough to reach 100 times, I would die. I refused. Hadn't I just wanted to die? Did it think I would be afraid? You'll die in an ugly way. A bloody, mangled death, the system said. It knew I loved beauty. Dying was fine, but looking ugly was not. Chapter 4. I stood at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau and raised a hand to block the sunlight. Get in. Angelica's charming face appeared from inside a luxury car. Every time I came to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Angelica felt uneasy and always had to watch me personally. Without another word, I got in. This time, where am I staying? She rolled her eyes at me, too lazy to speak. The arrogance of a rich young lady. I understood. It was already the 99th time. Angelica was afraid I would not leave. The moment I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with her adopted brother, she would immediately have my things packed and sent to the house she had bought for me. She said, if you really have nowhere to live, you'll just keep pestering my brother. I'm merely giving you a house out of charity. Don't pretend to be noble. I know people like you best. You say no, no, as if you regard money as dirt. But in reality, aren't you just casting a long line to catch a big fish? Only my brother can't see it. I thought Angelica was right. I was not noble. Every time I was about to reconcile with Daniel, I would sell the house she gave me and deposit the money into my offshore account. Angelica did not take me to the new house she had bought me. Instead, she took me to a mall. This one, this one, this one, pack them all. She was half a head taller than me and looked me up and down. Her gaze was disdainful. In order to play the sweet little wife, I always wore the kind of clothes that screamed perfect wife material. Low-key, obedient, frugal, family-oriented. Under the envious gazes of the luxury store clerks, I carried away a huge pile of things. Then she took me to a beauty salon and had me cleaned up from head to toe. I was stunned by the beauty of the person in the mirror. A champagne-colored one-shoulder gown perfectly outlined the curve of my waist. Pink and blue sapphires encircled my slender neck, and my delicate wrist wore a bracelet inlaid with blue gems from the same color palette. A beauty like jade, radiant and dazzling. I suppressed the intoxication of almost being captivated by myself. Carefully touching the gemstones, I asked nervously, after wearing these, I won't have to return them to you, right? Angelica took a deep breath, her face full of the haughty contempt of someone looking down on my petty concerns. You've worn them. Who else do you expect to wear them? If I let you wear them, they're yours. Why are you nagging so much? What a fierce temper. But I liked it. Chapter 5. Angelica took me to an auction. Only then did I learn that today was the biggest auction in Hong Kong City. Daniel had originally promised to attend with Angelica, but he had been entangled by the two little birds and cancelled on her. She was furious and wanted to watch the new loves and the old love fight. Angelica and I arrived a little late. Countless gazes landed on me, some surprised, some understanding. In the past, whenever news spread that Daniel and I were divorced, I would no longer appear with him at the same event. The excitement in their eyes could not be hidden. The gentlest wife in Hong Kong City was finally unable to hold back and was about to tear someone apart. When Daniel heard the commotion, he turned back from the front row, and his gaze landed on me. His tall body stiffened, his brows furrowed tightly, and his eyes darkened. The pressure made it hard to breathe. I braced myself, lowered my head, and sat down beside Angelica with an aggrieved look. Angelica, where would I get money? Her eyes were fixed on Daniel in the front row, being all lovey-dovey with the two canaries. Shut up. I obediently shut my mouth. Later, when you spend money, don't say I didn't warn you. I understood. She wanted to use me as a signboard to block the newcomer's path. Sure enough, when the older canary took a fancy to a pair of jade earrings, Daniel raised his paddle. Angelica turned her head to look at me. Want them? Before I could speak, she nodded. You want them. She raised her paddle too. The people around us whispered. Today's auction was worth coming to. There's drama to watch. Daniel used to be so high profile. Didn't he say his wife was obedient and sensible and never challenged him? What's going on now? She even brought his sister along. You don't understand. She wants to use his sister's hand to suppress the little lover's arrogance. To be fair, Daniel went too far this time. Didn't he propose in public? Isn't that slapping his wife in the face? Who could endure that? But what can she do if she can't endure it? She'll make a fuss and still obediently run back. Simp. I pretended not to hear and wanted to say. You don't understand. Daniel's gaze fell on me, pressing down until I could hardly breathe. I kept my head lowered and did not look at him. After a long while, he scoffed and raised his paddle too. The siblings went back and forth. And in the end, Daniel won the earrings. The older canary turned back and gave us a smug look. In front of everyone, Daniel pinched the canary's snow-white earlobe and put the earrings on her right there. Angelica's face turned ashen. My eyes were accusatory. So useless. Not to be outdone, the younger canary took a fancy to an emerald bracelet. Angelica raised her paddle first, but still could not beat Daniel. The bracelet was also gently placed on the younger canary's wrist by Daniel. When Daniel put it on her, his eyes never left mine. My eyes reddened with anger. Angelica had dragged me around all day, yet she could not even win a piece of jewelry. Seeing the anger in my eyes, Daniel seemed to think of something, and a triumphant expression appeared on his face. Angelica lost face. After leaving the auction house, she drove away without looking back. I stood at the entrance of the club and opened my phone, thinking of calling a car. A luxury car stopped beside me. The car door opened, and Daniel stepped out. He raised an eyebrow. You even used Angelica? Emma, this isn't how you compete for favor. If you want some jewelry, just say it directly. Don't play these petty tricks. It's undignified. He glanced at the two beauties in the car and bent down. Today, I'm teaching you a lesson. Be good. I'll compensate you. After lecturing me, he turned, got into the car, and drove away. That night, I received a full ruby jewelry set delivered by a jewelry store. It was more than 10 times more expensive than the set at the auction. The boss said it's a gift for madam. He humiliated me in front of everyone, then came to compensate me. I opened moments. There was only one picture post. Green earrings and jewelry. Dazzling and radiant. Caption, Daniel promised to bid on them for me. I expressionlessly deleted it. The one time Daniel occasionally came home, I was looking at a jewelry catalog. He glanced over casually, and the corners of his lips curved upward. Want it? I'll bid on it for you. So, I had not lied. Chapter 6. I obediently stayed in the apartment Angelica gave me. This time, she gave me a 3-bedroom flat with a living room, a spacious luxury apartment on one floor. I curled up at home and did not want to go out. Daniel called me 3 days later. Only after I entered the clubhouse did I realize that, amid the mess covering the floor, a haggard-looking woman was sitting there. Emma, talk some sense into Justin's wife. Tell her not to make such an ugly scene in front of outsiders. Daniel leaned lazily against the sofa, with the pair of sisters on his left and right. The dim light fell on his cold, handsome face, making his expression unreadable. My gaze swept over him and landed on the two beauties. One was pure and charming, the other was alluring and gorgeous. I had to admit, Daniel really had good taste. Justin was Daniel's childhood friend. The two of them were equally fickle in love. When Justin pursued his wife, it shook all of Hong Kong City. She was a wealthy heiress, a perfect match for him in family background. Yet in only 3 years, she had been tormented into the broken-down state before me. Daniel took a black card from his pocket. Here, Spend whatever you want. Keep spending until she's coaxed. Someone started teasing. Our bro really understands women, right? Buy. And no matter how much resentment they have, it all disappears. Is that how you comforted our sister-in-law too? Daniel laughed and cursed. Get lost. What do you know? Women always say where the money goes, the love goes. If you love her, of course you give her money to spend. The sisters were displeased. Daniel, didn't you say you loved us the most? Daniel smiled frivolously. Then he kissed one of them hard on the lips. After a long while, his voice was hoarse. Of course I love you two the most. See? Emma is already my ex-wife. The people around burst into laughter. Without changing expression, I took the card and turned to help Valentina up. Then I turned toward Justin. Sir, surely you're not reluctant to give up even one card? The noise stopped. The room became so quiet that even the drop of a needle could be heard. Justin looked coldly at Valentina. Justin. Sitting beside Justin was the unattainable first love he had once yearned for, the popular actress Selena. He stared fixedly at Valentina, holding a black card between two fingers. Valentina, don't do anything unnecessary, and don't provoke Selena. Otherwise, think about your family's company. After saying that, he loosened his fingers, and the card fell. Valentina's face flushed red just as she was about to speak. I rushed over like lightning and caught the card. Then I held Valentina's hand and shook the thin card in my hand. Thanks. When we walked out the door, I faintly heard someone inside say, Amazing, bro. Why does it look to me like sister-in-law doesn't love you to death? Could she be interested in your money? Daniel became angry. Get lost. How is that possible? She loves me to death. We divorced 99 times, and every time she begged to get back together. She can't live without me. Without me, where could she go? She's an orphan. His voice grew lower and lower, as if he were trying to reassure himself. Someone gave a cold snort. Keep playing with fire. Then, Justin is just like you. One day, when you've messed around so much that your wife is gone, you won't even have a place to cry. Chapter 7. Valentina and I went to the mall. Along the way, she remained silent. I had heard people say that Valentina and Justin had grown up together as childhood sweethearts. Originally, she was going to marry someone else, but Justin shamelessly clung to her and pursued her for 3 years before she finally nodded. Who would have thought that their loving, beautiful marriage would last only 1 year before Justin became deeply trapped among flowers, and she became a joke in the upper-class circles of Hong Kong City. Day after day, she waited for Justin to turn back. She became haggard, exhausted, and unable to sleep night after night. Back when Daniel cheated for the first time, I had wondered whether it was because I was an orphan that I could not grow old with him. After meeting Valentina, I understood. Whether a man is faithful has never had anything to do with a woman's family background, her appearance, her personality, or whether she is good enough. It is only about whether he wants to be faithful. Chapter 8. I thought Valentina would refuse to spend Justin's money. Who would have thought that once we arrived at the mall, Valentina spent money like water? I really had been too petty. In the past, I had never dared to spend Daniel's money so extravagantly. The sales associate beamed. All right, we'll wrap it up. Yes. This one too. This bag as well? Of course, miss. This watch. All right, we'll wrap it up. This pink diamond jewelry set suits both of your skin tones best. All right. We'll wrap it up. We practically cleaned out several high-end jewelry stores. Valentina and I exchanged a glance and burst into laughter. Emma, thank you. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. She held my hand. I gently patted her. Her sleeve slipped down, and on her jade-white wrist, there was faintly a mark. I told you Valentina was faking it. Justin, a charming voice rang out. Valentina and I looked up at the same time and saw that a group of people had appeared behind us at some point. Daniel's face was dark, his eyes fixed tightly on me. I could not tell what he was thinking. On his arms, one on each side, were the pair of sisters, and Selena, the one who had spoken, was looking at Valentina smugly. Justin frowned tightly. He coldly swept his gaze over Valentina, then turned and gently tucked Selena's hair behind her ear. Don't be jealous of her. Whatever she has, you won't lack either. Whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. The sisters tugged at Daniel's sleeve. Daniel, they wanted things too. Daniel calmly took out a black card and slipped it into one of their chests. Selena led the sisters around the store, then stood in front of us with her nose in the air. There's nothing in the store that we want. Justin, Daniel. She pointed at the things in our hands. We've taken a liking to these. It was blatant provocation. The store clerk secretly watched the drama. Someone could not help speaking up. A rich family jealousy fight. No matter how shameless they are, they shouldn't slap the legal wife in the face like this. It's fine to make trouble privately, but how could a mistress possibly win? When the sisters heard this, their eyes reddened. Daniel walked up to me, displeasure in his eyes. Emma, they want them. Give these to them. Be good. Valentina could not bear it anymore. Her voice trembled. Daniel, you've gone too far. She's your wife. Daniel's face turned cold. Valentina, mind your own business. He swept his gaze over Justin and Selena. Then he gave a light scoff. You can barely protect yourself, yet you still meddle in other people's business. Selena held Justin's hand and spoke aggrievedly. I know I shouldn't. But Justin, you said you would give me the best. Justin said coldly. Valentina, give them to her. You. Valentina's eyes reddened. I quickly pulled her behind me, then turned to Daniel with an aggrieved expression. Daniel, don't get angry. It's my fault. If they want them, then give them to them. But, Daniel, my gaze circled around the sales associates watching the show. Actually, I can give them over. But if word gets out that a big CEO wasn't even willing to buy things for the women he loves, and instead had to snatch them from his soon-to-be ex-wife, wouldn't that be bad? Although it was his money being spent, how would outsiders know that? They would only know that the CEO was stingy. So stingy that he forced his ex-wife to give up gifts for his little lovers. He could not afford to lose that face. Emma is still the thoughtful one. Daniel nodded in satisfaction and picked up a check. Tell me, how much? I named a price. Valentina's eyes widened. Daniel filled in a number without hesitation. Take it. Use the extra to buy whatever you like. Consider it compensation. Then he turned, pointed at those bags, pinched the sisters' faces, and coaxed them. They're yours now. Stop pouting. I ignored him and turned my gaze to Justin. My meaning was clear. Justin also took out a check and threw it at me. Selena proudly picked up the shopping bags and lowered her voice. Valentina, Justin still loves me the most. I secretly scoffed. He loves you, loves you, loves you most. How much is love worth? I pulled Valentina and watched the group leave. Valentina started laughing. She knew that just now, I had tripled the price. I opened Moments and quietly deleted the post I had made an hour ago. Chapter 9. Daniel's mother asked to meet me. The first time Daniel cheated and forced me to divorce. She invited me to the old mansion. The place was decorated in a Chinese style, with an old carved staircase. She wore an expensive shawl and gestured for me to sit in the rosewood armchair. On the exquisitely carved table was a check for 20 million. Miss Emma, I told you, he is just like his father. Her well-maintained face carried a calm serenity. At that moment, I suddenly understood how she had managed to survive normally in the somewhat gloomy old mansion. It was because Daniel's father had died early. That was why she had not ended up like the other women in the family who had gone mad or died young, torn apart by love and buried within this luxurious courtyard. Don't look back. Miss Emma, leave him. She was a kind woman. Daniel resembled her in some ways. He had used the parts of himself that resembled his mother to lure in the young me, but used the side of him that resembled his father to destroy me. That first time, I did not accept her check. I only told her, I'll wait for him to turn back. Stubborn fool. Later, countless times, I woke up in the middle of the night regretting it so much my insides turned green. That was 20 million. Although later she gave me countless checks of 20 million. One must understand that the first 20 million is always different. When she invited me to meet this time, she looked at me as if she were looking at a fool. The 100th time. Emma, you really can endure. She sighed deeply. Then she handed me a contract. I've never believed that love is stronger than gold. Emma, take me. For example, if Daniel's father hadn't died, I would have divorced him sooner or later. As for those elders in the family who passed early, they hated their husbands so much they wanted to kill each other. Only you truly love Daniel. That boy has stepped in dogshit luck. I was not happy hearing that. Don't say that about Daniel. Mother, Daniel is quite good. He's a good person. She was so angry with me that she could not say a word. She watched me sign, then threw the contract at me. Get lost. Don't let me see you again. This time, she did not give me money. She gave me a hot spring resort. I picked up the contract and kissed it. Mom. Thank you. You're my real mom. She weakly waved her hand. Hurry up and get lost. Just looking at you makes me angry. She was my second patron. Chapter 10. The cooling off period was almost over, so I made a moment's post visible only to Daniel. What is love? I so badly hope that the person I love can go back on his word just once. If it comes true this time, I will leave you. The words were lingering and reluctant. I had not had this habit before. After Daniel brought up divorce for the 58th time, he did not urge me to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. As a result, that cooling off period passed, and we had to apply again. That time, he pushed open the door of the home he had not entered in a long time and stood in the hall, staring hard at me. I keep feeling like, Emma, you don't seem to love me anymore. I suddenly don't want to divorce. I broke out in a cold sweat. Daniel, how can you say that? I've endured you keeping lovers again and again, divorcing me again and again, tormenting me again and again. How could I possibly not love you anymore? Perhaps my expression had been too nervous and resentful. He relaxed and nodded. That's true. I was overthinking. You love me to death. You don't even care about your life. How could you possibly leave me? His gaze fell on the scar on my wrist. So he had known all along that I had once attempted suicide for him. But he had never felt guilty. He only proudly said during gatherings with his childhood friends, "Stop bragging about how many people love you. Would your lovers throw away their lives for you? Only your sister-in-law can love me this much." He showed off my love for him so proudly. He squandered it recklessly and never cared. Thankfully, when I could cut something off, I did. Daniel's hesitation frightened me. From then on, every time the cooling off period was about to end, I would post a moment's update expressing my reluctance to part with him. After posting this time, I called out the long-absent system. We're almost at 100 divorces. Does that mean I've completed the mission? Almost. Almost? I grabbed my hair, nearly going mad. What was even more maddening was that Daniel called me. For nearly a month, Daniel had not contacted me again. Why was he suddenly harassing me now? Emma, I saw your moments post. Are you afraid I really won't want you anymore? I'm not. Still being stubborn. I'm not admitting it. Changed tactics this time? A low laugh came from the other end. His tone pleased. I like your little schemes. I know you only came up with them because you love me too much. I don't blame you. His tone was lingering and intimate. I don't know why, but this time, I especially miss you. Daniel held the phone, listening to the voice so familiar it was carved into his bones. The inexplicable anxiety in his heart was soothed. He relaxed. Suddenly, I don't want to keep playing this divorce game anymore. Emma, let's withdraw the divorce application. What did you say? My voice trembled, and I nearly dropped the phone. No, absolutely not. Where are you? Daniel? I'll go find you. He gave an address in broken fragments. Chapter 11. Only after I arrived did I realize that he had brought the two canaries to vacation at the hot spring resort his mother had given me. The man was wearing a loose bathrobe, the belt tied carelessly around his waist. The scratches on his chest were messy and obvious, while the two canaries' faces were flushed. Anyone could tell what had happened. When Daniel saw me, he froze. Why are you here? He pushed the person beside him away in slight panic. He looked guilty. Strange. In the past, when he was intimate with his little birds in front of me, he had never been nervous. I asked anxiously, "Was what you said true? You want to withdraw the divorce application? What nonsense are you talking about? Who wants to withdraw it?" Halfway through, he suddenly held his forehead, as if remembering something. It was just that I got drunk and made a bet with the two of them. We bet that as long as I said I wasn't divorcing, you would immediately run over to find me. He looked at me, drenched in sweat, his eyes smug. You really came. But, Emma, you didn't take it seriously, did you? How could I not take it seriously? Looking at my anxious face, he showed a trace of pity. Emma, I suddenly want to satisfy your wish. He grabbed my hand, pulled me forcefully into his arms, and kissed my forehead. We won't divorce. Chapter 12. It was like a bolt from the blue. I suspected I had misheard. You, say that again. I didn't hear wrong, did I? Daniel, you're joking, right? I said, we won't divorce. Are you so happy you've gone silly? He looked smug. How can you go back on your word? Daniel, are you crazy? Daniel's face darkened. What kind of words are those? Emma, do you want to leave me? Vigilance appeared in his eyes. I steadied myself and pointed at the two birds. It's not that I want to leave you. Daniel, if you don't divorce, what about them? The sisters tugged at Daniel's sleeve. Daniel, are you going back on your word? What did you promise us? You said you would divorce Sister Emma. That's why we sisters gave you our first time. The beauties looked as if they were about to cry. Daniel hesitated for a moment, then pulled his sleeve out of their hands. Stop arguing. Let me think. He turned and looked at me. You stay here first. Don't leave. Even without him saying it, I could not leave. I could not let all my previous efforts go to waste. I looked at his departing back and fell into deep thought. Chapter 13. On the second day of staying at the resort, I got up early and took out the ruby jewelry Daniel had given me, then put it on. The outfit I wore was haute couture he had sent over last night, sweeping away my previous weakness. I looked down at the two canaries arrogantly. I watched with satisfaction as ambition appeared in their eyes. A highly paid makeup artist styled my hair, while someone else was doing my toenails. Madam's hair is truly beautiful. The boss really dotes on you. He specially invited a master from abroad to take care of your hair. What are you saying? This is the CEO's wife. If it were someone else, the master wouldn't even come. It's still because the CEO has such influence. Whoever becomes the CEO's wife gets to enjoy this kind of blessing. I blew on my freshly done manicure and looked proudly at the two canaries. Then I turned my head, my face flushed with shyness. Daniel has always treated me very well. He just likes to play around. Madam is so lucky. In a couple of years, once you give the boss a child, he'll settle down. Men are all like that. Where the money goes, the love goes. Really? I covered my mouth in disbelief. He does especially like children. You all know that the Daniel family has had only one male heir for generations. If we had a child, that would be wonderful. He wouldn't keep making trouble anymore. All those birds and sparrows outside would be cut off cleanly. I did not miss the excitement in the sisters' eyes when they heard our conversation. I had not lied. Daniel liked children. Unfortunately, ever since his first affair, we had become husband and wife in name only. He had thought about it too, but I had cried so hard I could not control myself. Daniel, no matter how much I love you, I'm not ready. You can't look down on me like this. Under the attack of my tears, he left in embarrassment and never lowered his head to me again. He knew that no matter what he did not need to beg me. I would forgive him again and again, and turn back again and again. Chapter 14. This time, Daniel truly was hesitating. On the last day of the cooling-off period, he took me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Emma, I still haven't figured it out. I don't know why, but I keep feeling that if we divorce this time, it will become real. You'll leave me. Then what about your little lovers? Chase those two little sparrows away, and we won't divorce. He looked hesitant. I knew he had not had enough fun yet. They were new and freshly obtained, and he was still deeply interested in training them. Those two little sparrows had not wasted the money I had secretly spent to find the most skilled young ladies at the Poly Gold Club to train them. Their seductive charm was quite good. Then let's delay it another month. Emma, we'll decide again in a month. He left himself a way out. I nodded. After that, he took the sisters and traveled wildly. On the night before the second cooling-off period ended, Daniel called. Emma, I'm sorry. They're pregnant. On the other end of the phone. For some reason, Daniel found it difficult to say the words that had once slipped so easily from his mouth. Emma, You understand me. I can't let the children become illegitimate. So, Emma, this time, let's divorce first. In the future, these 2 children will be our children. I'll give them all to you to raise. I'll compensate you. Emma, say something. I held my breath and listened until he finished, then finally let out a long sigh. Daniel, I agree, as long as you still have me in your heart. He hurriedly promised me, the last time. Emma, I'm sorry. I love you. After the call ended, I finally laughed. These 2 little birds had done well. I could tell that Daniel had truly hesitated this time. If they had not become pregnant, he would never have divorced me. He wanted to turn back. Chapter 15. 1 year later. Daniel pointed at the tall man behind me, his finger trembling. What is he? Emma, didn't you say you would wait for me? How can you be with someone else? Before I could speak, the man behind me became displeased. What kind of way is that to talk? Daniel, why can't she be with someone else? What position do you have to accuse Emma? Sam sneered. A man who happily raised another man's child has no right to speak. He swept a contemptuous glance over Daniel's pale face. A man who got married 200 or 300 times is dirty. That was an exaggeration. It was true that Daniel had been married more than 200 times, but 100 of those times were with me. Daniel could not speak. After he and I got our divorce certificate, he quickly married the older canary, had a child, and then married the younger canary too. But he had not expected that neither of the 2 children was his. He was furious and threw both women and the children out of the old mansion. Unable to out-argue Sam, he turned his head and looked at me. Emma, don't you love me anymore? No matter how I messed around before, you always forgave me. You loved me so much. I don't believe it. I walked up to him and stood still. Daniel, what makes you think that as long as you turn back, I will forgive you unconditionally? From the moment you cheated for the first time, from the moment you had thoughts about another woman for the first time, we were already over. Daniel, my life is not a garbage recycling station. I gave up on you long ago. His eyes widened. Emma, I don't believe it. I don't believe what you're saying. You've always said the opposite of what you mean. A flash of light crossed his eyes, and he seemed to go mad. Emma, let's start over. I'll win you back. Chapter 16. Daniel ignored everything and let the upper-class circles of Hong Kong City laugh at him for losing both the wife and the army, laughing that he had played too hard and ruined everything. Day after day, he kept watch downstairs from my building. Emma endured so many times. She's practically a female bodhisattva. After Sam heard that, he lowered his voice and bit my ear. Female bodhisattva, please have mercy. After the divorce, I originally had not planned to start so quickly with another man. But the system said, I still needed a backup man who successfully rose to the top for things to be complete. Sam, heir to the greatest aristocratic family in North City. In North City, he had heard that over in Hong Kong City, there was a super tolerant ninja turtle. He was curious and wanted to meet the woman who could divorce her husband 100 times. Who would have thought that the moment he saw me, he was poisoned? He thought I was breathtakingly beautiful, and he could not understand why that fool Daniel had messed around so blindly. In that instant, he was grateful that Daniel had messed around, because that was how he had delivered me right in front of him. I glanced downstairs at Daniel, who was crouching beside his luxury car. Sam became displeased. You're not going soft-hearted, are you, Emma? You're not allowed to think about your ex-husband anymore. The man tirelessly made me happy. I really did not have time to think about Daniel anymore. For an entire month, Daniel kept watch at my place. Every morning, breakfast he had bought early would be hanging at my door. In the end, he even bought Sam's portion too. He said, in the past, you bought things for me and other people. Emma, I'm returning it to you now. Please give me a chance. Madman. He moved a piano downstairs from my home. Back when he pursued me, when we made our love pledge, he had composed a piano piece for me. He played for 3 straight days. On the 4th day, before I even went out, the neighbor lady could no longer bear it. She carried out a basin of foot-washing water and poured it over him from head to toe. You little brat. Are you going to let people sleep or not? I laughed so hard I bent forward and backward. Daniel, utterly wretched. was taken away by his mother. When he left, his eyes were so red they looked like they were about to drip blood. If he had known it would come to this, why had he acted that way in the beginning? Chapter 17. On the day Sam and I got married, Daniel came through the wedding veil. I looked at Sam. You let him come? Sam kissed me. If I didn't let him come, he wouldn't give up. Daniel had pestered me for an entire year. The night he learned I had accepted Sam's proposal, he cut his wrist. When his mother called, I was looking at wedding dresses. Emma, could you come see him? I fell silent for a moment, then said to her over the phone, I'm sorry. I understand. Emma, sorry for disturbing you. She said it apologetically. Daniel stared at me until the rings were exchanged, and only then did he stagger away. On the table was a gift contract. The island where we had held our wedding years ago. He gave it to me. If you don't want me to accept it, I won't. I looked at Sam. Really? I clutched the document tightly. Really? Do whatever you want. Take it if you want to. I nodded. It'd be a waste not to take it. I'm already yours. Can you still care about anything else? Emma, well done. Sam ground his teeth and pounced. The night was thick. I was just a little tired.